Do you know who Findlay Market is named for?
No.
But I'm sure it was someone very famous at some point.
Who is James Findlay, and what role did he play in early Cincinnati and the War of 1812? James Findlay was born in Franklin County, Pennsylvania, on October of 1770. After his father suffered a huge financial setback, probably resulting from a fire, Findlay and his wife moved westward. They would eventually settle in Cincinnati, the capital city of the Northwest Territory, in 1793. Cincinnati was a great place for an ambitious young man such as Findlay. In his new city, Findlay quickly rose to prominence, becoming a member of the First Territorial Legislative Council. Later, he was appointed the first receiver of public monies in the newly established land office at Cincinnati, becoming the visible agent of the federal government in the area. Cincinnati at this time was not just the capital of the Northwest Territory, but was also the military headquarters for the Ohio Valley. Its economy was driven by government contracts, river commerce, and the wages of soldiers. By the time Ohio joined the Union in 1803, Findlay had become so popular that he was elected a member of the State House of Representatives. His appointments and elected positions brought him to political prominence during this period. He became the first mayor of Cincinnati in 1805 and 1806. Findlay also maintained a strong commercial network during this period, bringing him financial success and with it, a great reputation. In 1806, James Findlay helped prove his loyalty to the nation by aiding in the investigation of the Aaron Burr conspiracy, which was to have part of the Southwest secede from the nation. He revealed the part of his business associate, John Smith, played in aiding Burr. The ambitious Findlay was eager to advance, and he would soon get his opportunity in the War of 1812.
What are your thoughts on invading Canada?
My thoughts on invading Canada? Oh, I don't think we should do that.
I watched the movie Canadian Bacon, and that didn't turn out very well.
Oh, okay.
So I think we should learn from John Candy's mistakes.
Okay, well, we actually invaded Canada for the War of 1812, so we should probably learn from historical mistakes as well. Are you doing anything to celebrate the bicentennial of the War of 1812?
No. Have no plans for that.
Do you know anything about the War of 1812?
I know that I know that it involved fighting the French, and I think I think we fought. Did we fight with the British or against the British? So we fought with the French against the British.
We didn't really fight with the French either.
Okay. No,
right.
The French were involved in that war, right?
No, that was the French and Indian War in the 1700s before the Revolutionary War.
Okay. Wow.
In 1810 and 1811, Findlay's esteemed reputation brought him once again into the seat of mayor of Cincinnati. His political career and influence seemed to be reaching a high point. But a year later, the country would once again be at war with Great Britain. Findlay would answer the call of duty. Ohio, being a western state, was very much dominated by Jeffersonian Republicans and cried for war in 1811 due to various offenses against the United States by Great Britain. Many Ohioans quickly volunteered to fight once war was officially declared. The war fever gave Governor Meigs of Ohio and United States General William Hull little trouble assembling 1,200 troops to march to Detroit. From Detroit, General Hull executed the first invasion of Canada during the war, hoping to take over parts of Upper Canada, present-day southern Ontario. As colonel of an Ohio regiment in the regular army, Findlay was a part of this force led by General Hull. However, once reaching Detroit on July 5th, Hull began to doubt whether or not he had enough men to successfully invade. He decided instead of directly attacking Amherstburg, he would go after a small town of Sandwich, which Findlay's regiment would play a part. The next target for the invasion was the city of Amherstburg, which was being fortified by the British. Hull sent advance guards ahead to take various strategic positions near the city, such as bridges. However, Hull soon ordered a withdrawal and was forced to retreat back to Detroit on August 7th and 8th. Many of his subordinates, such as Colonels Cass and MacArthur, once again questioned this decision, bringing Hull to the point of almost arresting MacArthur. With the closing in of the British, conditions in Detroit continued to deteriorate to the point where various colonels such as Findlay wrote to Governor Meigs to bring aid. Multiple colonels, such as Findlay, wrote this: "Dear Sir, from causes not fit to be put on paper, but which I trust I shall live to communicate to you, this army has been reduced to a critical and alarming situation. Unfortunately, the general and our principal officers could not view the situation in the same light. It is all important that communication should be kept open. Our very existence depends on it. Our supplies must come from our state. This country does not furnish them. Every exertion that can must be made." On August 16, 1812, Hull surrendered Detroit to British General Brock. Of the surrendered 2,500 men, 1,600 were Ohio volunteers. These volunteers were sent back to Ohio after being paroled. The British decided to do this because they lacked the provisions to feed all the men, and they would serve as an example of how the American war effort is a failure. Findlay's involvement in the rest of the war dealt more with supply lines than actually fighting. Due to his merchant background, he dealt with supplying the men with food and everything else the men needed or guaranteed in their enlistment. His experience in the harsh conditions of Detroit may have driven him into trying to better supply soldiers. Findlay and others needed to do as much as they could to get men to volunteer as the war continued to rage. Fears of Indian attacks on the frontier made many men feel uncomfortable in leaving their families unprotected, especially if it involved being gone for a long time, which would be needed for a successful campaign against the British in Canada and the Great Lakes region. After the War of 1812 ended in 1815, Findlay would continue to get positions and honors due to his esteemed reputation. From his conduct in the war, he would be promoted to Brigadier General of the Ohio State Militia. In this position, he would ensure the safe immigration of people into Midwestern states such as Ohio and Indiana from Indians. Findlay, as well as others, helped ensure the growth of Southwest Ohio in the post-war era.
How long have you been coming to Findlay Market?
Oh gosh, we've been coming here for 20 plus years.
So how long have you been coming to Findlay Market?
Probably 30 years.
After Mrs. Findlay's death in 1851, executors of the Findlay will and estate donated a piece of land. The executors donated this piece of land, but with stipulations that the land would be used to build a public market and it would be named in commemoration of Findlay.